Hey everybody, thanks again for tuning into the Zim Geek channel. This is a video that I've been meaning to do for quite a while and am really happy to do now. I want you to meet a superhero team that I helped create called the Preservers. Now the Preservers are not your ordinary superhero team. You can't really go into a comic book shop and pick up their adventures, but I am just finishing off my 5th year of working with these characters, and I really want you to know just how great they are and the purpose that they serve. I see the Preservers as a prime example of the ability and power, really, of comics as a medium will have, not just for entertainment, but to do so much more out on the open marketplace. Let me tell you their story. About 5 years ago, I was in the middle of doing Flint Comics and Entertainment, a local comics and entertainment newspaper we circulated here around the Flint, Michigan area. And in the last few years, I'm sure almost everybody has heard about Flint, Michigan and their water problems. But I was here doing a comics and entertainment paper that lasted a good 100 issues. I have a couple of videos here on my channel talking about that. If you want to know more about Flint Comics, please refer back to those. But anyway, I was doing the paper. I got contacted out of the blue one day from the folks at Formar Nature Preserve and Arboretum. They told me that they were working on kind of a comic project that they wanted to talk to me about, and that they had seen the paper and didn't know of anybody else that was out there doing comic book work. So they asked me to come in for a meeting. At the meeting, they had told me that they were really working on trying to get a comic book superhero team together, that they were thinking of making a superhero team based around nature, conservation, preservation, and that they had tried a couple of other people that it didn't quite work out, and they stumbled across my paper and wanted to see if I could meet their needs. So in the course of that first meeting, we worked out almost an entire superhero team with each member covering a specific area of conservation or preservation that they wanted to cover and educate people about. First, the Nature Preserve used as their own mascot a snapping turtle that had been in their pond for quite a while. So I said we needed to use that character as kind of a Grandmaster type character in order to lead the entire team. So Grandmaster Snapper was born. They wanted an amphibian character, so the obvious choice was a frog. So it worked out real well, too, because the frogs are an indicator species, and that we have the character changing color in relationship to the danger that the character's in. Green for go, yellow for caution, and red for danger. To represent nature in general and the growth of plants, we created the Green, who is a giant mute character who can influence plant growth and change his size at will. To cover the entire cycle of plant life, we also needed a character that covered decomposition, a friendly character that covered what they called the FBI, that's fungi, invertebrates, and bacteria. So we created DK, the decomposer. To cover the subject of plant life pollination, we created a character called Queen Bee. It just seemed like the obvious choice. When it came to predators, daytime and nighttime predators, of course, the first thing that sprung to our mind for a nighttime predator would be a bat. But as we all know, bats are kind of taken. So we created Owl Girl to cover as a nighttime predator, and Red Hawk for a daytime predator. And Red Hawk, they wanted to make a little haughty and a little full of himself. Both Owl Girl and Red Hawk can fly, just like birds, and both of them have claws that they can use in defense, and neither one of them like each other very well. And the last character we created at that session was Miss Sunflower, who represents sunshine and the ability to make things grow. She also can use her sunlight bursts as solid objects, like she can stand on a platform that looks like a daisy and fly around, and she can shoot little bolts of sunlight. And that was the initial team. And what we did with that team was we made up a story that introduced all of the characters and put them together in 12 different signs. And once the signs were produced, they were backed by a great metal turtle frame and then displayed all around the nature preserve. So we literally had a superhero trail that visitors could go walk through, read a story, and enjoy the park at the same time. The Formar people and the Genesee County Parks people were so happy with the results that they got from their first superhero trail that they didn't want to see the artwork go away, nor the message that they were getting across. So with a little bit of work, we put all of those signs together into one comic book that was very inexpensively printed. It's on newsprint, looks like an old style comic book. It's a lot of fun, that they give away at their welcome center. The Preservers was a really fun hook to bring people into the nature center and attracted a lot of attention. In fact, they were able to use the Preservers as kind of a hook in order to get the Animal Planet's Treehouse Masters guys to come out and build a treehouse there at the Nature Preserve. And the treehouse they turned into the Preservers headquarters, so to speak. It actually serves as a classroom and as like an observation deck. And it also allows them to have activities and classes and meetings right out in the middle of nature. The treehouse also has a wheelchair accessible ramp and allowing anyone, no matter what their challenge, to be able to come in and enjoy the sights and the treehouse in general. The Treehouse Masters episode that's found on Animal Planet was called Nature's Superheroes and ran a few seasons back and was a lot of fun. If you look really quick, you can actually see me there for maybe a quick, maybe 2 seconds at best. But it was really the work that they promoted. They promoted the Preservers, the fact that they had built the treehouse, and most especially they promoted Formar Nature Preserve and the Genesee County's park system. And that was a lot of fun to be involved with, what little involvement I had with the treehouse. But the amount of people that it attracted from all over the place, it got them a lot of recognition, and it got the Preservers a lot of recognition as well. While they were building the treehouse, we were on our second trail. They were so happy with the results of the first Nature Superhero Trail that they wanted to do a lot more. So in the second trail, we introduced a big villain called Eli Ratzel, who built a giant robot character that we called the Pollutor, that represented every different type of pollution. For the comic for that year, we even got to show them doing a little bit of genuine superheroing as they tore the Pollutor to shreds. For the third nature trail, the third year that we did the trail, we covered the life cycle of the Monarch, where we introduced a new superhero character called Monarch, who started out as little Katie Pillar and went through the entire life cycle and the migration patterns of the Monarch butterfly. That also coincided with the creation of their butterfly house there at the preserve. And springing from the idea of showing the Monarch's life cycle, the fourth year's trail covered the life cycle of all of the other preserver characters as Grandmaster Snapper took around his original field journal and covered the character's life cycle from birth to adulthood. This also encouraged kids to start their own field journal, as well as raising awareness in everybody about nature and keeping notes on individual things that they find while they're out in the woods. By this time, the preservers had become so successful, especially with the nature trail and the treehouse, that the Formar people decided that they wanted to take the trail on the road, in that they decided to do a school assembly program where they had a mobile trail that they took to the more inner city schools inside of the Flint city limits and other places, really to reach people who might have a difficult time to get to the park or who didn't even know the park existed in the first place. At these school assembly programs, they would talk about urban conservation, like cleaning up your own neighborhood that they called neighborhood, your local park, how to identify trees, how to take care of them, that kind of thing. And to help drive that point home, we created a new character, a new preserver for the urban area, an older, wiser tree by the name of Dendro, the Defender. Each sign would be a different table with a different activity, with a different point that they wanted the students to learn and understand. Then, in order to cap it all off, we took those signs and put them together into a book, along with further instruction on tree identification and a few games, and we called that the Preservers Urban Trail Special. In fact, I patterned the cover for that issue off of the iconic Avengers #4 cover that introduced Captain America. And this year's trail at Formar even fed off of the Urban Trail Special in that it had Dendro, the Defender, bringing a few kids in back to Formar itself, where they could learn how to be their own urban nature superhero. The reader was encouraged to draw their own ideal neighborhood and then understand the different steps that it would take in order to make an ideal park or recreation area or their own local area into a very favorable neighborhood. And where the preservers go after this is anybody's guess. Hopefully we'll keep doing this trail for many, many years to come. All of these comics were available for free at the Welcome Center. In fact, now they have 5 different issues. Soon they'll have 6 once the 5th trail becomes a book. The trails themselves run from about April or May all the way through the end of October. So I'll probably be assembling that book here pretty shortly. So if you're ever in the Flint, Michigan area, make sure you look up Formar, Nature Preserve, and Arboretum. They are open all year round, even though the trails only open from April, May until the end of October. Stop by the Welcome Center and ask if they have any copies of the Preservers available. We just went back for second printings on the first 3 issues, so they should definitely have some. And if you physically can't get out to the park, you can always check online at GeneseeCountyParks.org, where they have PDF files available, I believe, of all of the Preserver books and even the Urban Trails Special. Over many years and doing that Flint Comics newspaper, I have learned that there are so many different uses and so many different ways that sequential art, comic book art, can be put to use. Not just for entertainment, but also for education or anything else that you can get across. You're not stuck working in a regular comic, in a regular format with a mainstream company. You can definitely go out there and find things to do on your own. And don't be afraid to look around locally, because you don't know who is looking for comic book style work, especially now that comic movies have become such a big part of mainstream entertainment. And that's a brief overview of the Preservers. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do that too, and hit that bell for notifications, because I'm going to try to be putting out more content more often. I'm just not sure exactly when it'll be coming out. Every even-numbered Zim Geek episode is a cartoon instructional, where I show how to draw a cartoon that you may or may not know, a cartoon character. Every odd video, we're going to cover comics, sequential art, and all of the strange and odd, unusual corners that it can be found in. Your comments are always welcome below. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions that you might have, any further questions you might have on the Preservers especially. And until next time, thanks so much for being here. I really appreciate you stopping by. Take care.